Today's video is all about something quite different. I'm Elwyn Davies, and most of you who have followed my Pixelhaze YouTube channel will know I create content about web design using website builders like Squarespace, like Hostinger website builder. But today we're going to do something a bit different. I'm going to show you how I create these videos on a relatively shoestring budget. The relative bit means that I've got a smartphone that you may or may not have, especially of this quality. This is an iPhone Pro. But generally, what I try to do is to create an environment that's both really flexible, so I can film from multiple angles. You may have noticed that I often record on a different angle from this one here, but just to show that we've got this modular approach to recording videos. That always comes at a trade-off because the lighting isn't quite perfect for this one, but it's good enough for the recordings that I want to create. So today I'm going to give you a tour around this cabin that was built at the tail end of 2020 during the second lockdown here in the UK. I needed a place that I could get away from my kids to be able to record content without constant disruptions and interruptions. I managed to find a relatively low-cost cabin. So when I say videos on a shoestring, I'm not including the actual building costs as well for this. But it cost me around £4,000, maybe $5,000 to $5,500 to build this. A lot of the kit I already had, but I'm going to talk through the items that we've used. Everything from this lapel mic through my desktop microphone, and then we'll be showing how we can improve the lighting so it's good enough. With my videos, I've accepted that 99% is good enough. It's not broadcast quality content, but it's good enough for YouTube that it doesn't become a distraction from the content itself. That's a really important bit. I also wanted something that would stop me becoming lazy. I don't believe I'm a lazy person. Generally, I like to keep myself really busy, really active. But when it comes to recording, it's very easy to fall into the trap of, I'm not going to record today because it takes too long to set up. So I'm going to show you how I've got things set up so it's so quick for me to hit that record button and start recording a video. I'll also show you a few glimpses of what I use to warm up before I create my videos. Before we jump into this video, I just want to leave a little disclaimer. This next part is going to be far jumpier and wobblier than usual. I literally recorded it using the camera in my hand, and I was switching between recording away from me most of the time without getting feedback on the camera itself. And I flipped around at a couple of points where I was talking to the camera. So therefore, the quality, ironically, isn't going to be as good as the setup I usually go for those reasons. I left this bit out of the next part of the recording, but having a stand for your phone is a huge part of recording at a good quality. So get that camera nice and still on a solid platform. If you can't afford even a phone stand to start with, get a pile of books, stack your camera phone on that, and don't do what I'm about to do in just a moment. Disclaimer out the way, let's crack on. We're going to record this video in three parts. We're going to start with environment, then we're going to move on to sound, and then finish up on lighting. And if we start with the environment, I thought I'd bring you outside of the cabin first to give you an idea of scale, and also not the worst working environment as well. One thing I realized during COVID is that I really like working from home, especially when I had a quiet environment to work from. And so that's why I wanted to build this cabin. But if we come in here, it's not very big, but it's plenty big enough for what I need. And we can see that the lighting setup for that introduction is in place. And we'll cover that in a bit. But I wanted something that was a nice environment for me to work in, something that I could control the windows. So I've got these cheap Amazon blinds here that I can roll up or down depending on requirements. Sometimes I might want to pump a little bit more light in for things like Zoom calls. This is my main light here, which I think is newer, which we'll come back to in a bit. But the softbox attachment is really important, so we're not putting really harsh shadows onto me and the background, especially when I'm working on the chalkboard. We've got the chalkboard here. Anyone who knows me knows I can't have any working environment without some sort of chalkboard or whiteboard that I can scribble down my ideas. My handwriting is not the best. Apologies for that when you have to go through my videos. That's why I create canvas screens to go alongside them. So I've got professional layouts. Some of the artwork I've created using a word art website. I found a cabin sign. I think it was off eBay for that one. And I've got all of my bits and pieces for handling the chalkboard, including colored chalks next to the bookshelves. This is fake. It may look fake, but in the background when we're recording videos, it's nice to have some greenery, and we've got some fake plants in here, mainly because I don't roll up the windows and I don't want to be in here every single day watering the plants. So we do enough with plants here. I live on the farm in the middle of nowhere, and that really helps. In terms of improving the sound with the environment, I put these relatively cheap foam tiles in place on the ceiling. And also I've got for some that fit in with the overall look and feel of the cabin here below. As we come round to the desk then, we can see my MacBook, and we can see that we're actually recording ourselves at the moment. And if I was to turn it around, we've got me, hello me, hello me. Sorry, really cheesy joke. And we've got a ring light behind, which again, we'll come on to the lighting in a bit. In terms of artwork on the wall, I tried to double it up. So I've got Do Not Go Gentle Into That Good Night by Dylan Thomas. got Invictus. My two go-tos, funnily enough, I use Poetry, which sounds really cringy when I talk about it now, as a way of warming up for videos. So I'll just read through these, I know them pretty much off by heart, as a way of just being comfortable, speaking at the right volume, and just getting into a flow before I start recording. I used to do that a lot back in 2020-21 when I started recording videos. Don't tend to worry about it too much these days, but it's really a nice little warm-up exercise. Finally, I've got different environments that I can record. So we've got the two chairs here, and if I was to just come out a little bit, I can film from somewhere around this angle, although I would move the chairs in a little bit, to be able to record interviews. I've done this a couple of times, but I really want to interview more local business owners, talk about their tech headaches. I wanted to create an environment where I could record that. Also, I've got my desk environment here, so I can record off the back of the desk, and I've got a different background environment. So if we bring it round, different backdrop. If I record from this angle, I can then move the camera onto a simple stand. So this is just a cheapy one off Amazon with a smartphone clip and holder. And I'm able then to record directly onto the chalkboard. So that's the environment, that's the setup that we've got here. This is a nice working environment for me to edit videos. I did actually have this connected to my home PC, but I've moved everything across to my MacBook. I find the M1s and M2, I think this is an M2 Mac, are so quick for editing and recording videos that it becomes really easy. And one final tip, I use Descript for all my video recording, so we can actually see it's recording here in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. That basically allows it to create a transcript on the fly, so we can see the transcript for the introduction in this section here. That makes the recording process so much quicker. There's no having to transfer a file from my iPhone to my Mac. So that's why I've gone fully with the Apple ecosystem, because continuity camera is a feature that's free and available. As long as you've got a relatively new Mac and a relatively new iPhone, I don't know what the exact requirements are, it means that you can basically just wirelessly connect your phone to your MacBook. And we can see that I've got a microphone fitting here on the side. So that's a wireless microphone for a lapel mic that, again, we'll come on to in a moment, but just allows me to move around within the vicinity of the MacBook, but record on the fly. I've also got a well-known smart device that if I say its name, it will fire up, so I won't do that. But that allows me to voice control all of the lighting setup in here. Now that's taking it a little bit nerdy, and you don't need to take it that far, but it means that I can turn the cabin on with one command. I can turn it off. I can turn off these lights here, which are off at the moment because they make the video a little bit too yellow, and we can see here that the lights are predominantly white. So I've turned that off just to control this video, but when I'm working in here, especially in the evenings, I'll want those lights on, it will come on automatically. Also, the radiator is set to heat via a smart device, so it will control the temperature. I've got a smart controlled extractor here that just takes out the hot air this time of year in the summer. And I've got an extra fan here that's needed. So this little tower fan is handy to turn on in between recordings, because the one downside of working in a cabin is it gets really, really warm in here during the summer. So that's a introduction to the cabin. I also have a recording setup in my home office in the house. It's now the summer holidays, so the kids are in there, so that's why I'm out here. That's a really versatile, really high quality microphone. However, when Descript brought in the feature called Studio Sound, it uses AI to clear up all of the sound. So what I'm using is this microphone instead. This is Hollyland, I think. It's about $120 to $150 for a pair of two microphones. And I say budget or shoestring budget, you can record directly off your iPhone, but you need to be really close to it at all times. So I would strongly recommend this if you're serious about improving the sound quality of your videos. So we can see the green lights on in there at the moment. I'm not going to pull it out because it will start picking up off that microphone as well, and we'll probably have sound issues. I don't know if you can see, there's a little magnetic clip at the back. What you could do is you put the microphone on top of your t-shirt or top. So if I turn around and can show the one I'm wearing now at the moment, there's a little magnetic plate that goes behind it, so that fixes it to my t-shirt. That keeps it well attached. It means that you're not making pin marks into your clothing, which is, again, really handy. Doesn't bother me too much, but I can understand if you spend a lot more money on t-shirts than I do, that's probably going to be an issue. And then that wirelessly connects to this little gubbin here that goes into a USB-C port. My iPhone now is a USB-C iPhone as opposed to the old Lightning connectors. And that means that this will work on both my MacBook and my iPhone as well. So I don't need to be around the MacBook. I don't need to be using continuity camera to record on this. I can just record on the move on my iPhone as well and get the same quality sound. The one thing that's really important here, there's two settings on this microphone. You've got a green light setting and you've got a blue light setting. Mine is, again, if we turn it around, I don't know if you can see it there, it's set up on the blue light setting. That means it doesn't have noise cancelling enabled. The reason I do that is because Descript, which costs about $25 a month for a really good subscription with almost unlimited video upload, has a studio sound feature that cleans up all of the sound. And what we don't want to be doing is applying that on top of a noise cancelling feature on microphones, especially lower cost microphones like this one, because that will just add 2 layers of audio cleanup, which makes them sound a little bit clipped. They miss the mark a little bit as well. So that's the sound setup. Let's finally have a look at the lighting setup. So I'm going to start off with this big boy over here. This is a Neewer, I think, Neewer. And as part of this video, I'm going to show how this will work. So there's a dial setting here for the brightness. So when I'm recording from that chair down there, I'm going to have it on dimmer. And then when I'm in my desk, I'll put it on full brightness. The softbox attachment is a necessity for me. It costs a little bit more, but again, having that so it would clip on over top of the light just softens the light, it softens the shadows in the background and makes that much better. And there are some other settings here, like the warmth of the light. I've got these on really white because the timber and the brickwork in the background will make it look more yellow. We've also got this light, then the spotlight that sits behind me. And this one just stops so much shadows being cast behind me. So I'll often bring the chair in front of that light, and with it casting across, it brings a nice little backdrop, but also adds a little bit more depth to the video without casting really heavy shadows. I've got these LED light strips. I had a bit of a leak in the first year I built this, so I can't actually change the colors at the moment because I did want them more into the either pinks or blues, which can add to the look and feel of it. I'm going to be ripping that up at some point and replacing it with 2 LED light strips so I get double the light and the glow coming up through, because that can just offer a really nice colored backdrop and add a little bit more balanced light in the room as well. I've got then some low-cost LED panel lights as well. So this one's actually facing away just to add a little bit more background light, especially when I don't have the main lights on in here and I don't have the blinds up. I've got another relatively low-cost ring light here. I need to sort that out. It's just hanging by the cable at the moment, which isn't perfect. I've got a clip here, which the clip broke on it, so it used to be on here, but I need it over there to get the angles of the light right. We've got our main light coming across from a further distance to soften it, and we've got another LED panel light that's coming down on an angle. I think they call it a key light, although I'm not professional at setting up video setups. But by having 3 light sources really helps, because if I come closer, and let's turn this around, if I come closer to this ring light and I bring it right in, which is where most people go wrong, they will actually have the camera in the middle of the ring light. I'm hoping you're seeing, I can't see the feedback here, but I'm hoping you're seeing that it's just too strong. Yeah, so I've just had a quick look now and we can see that that light's too strong. By just moving it further away and on an angle, we've got the halo created, and this isn't a perfect setup, from those lights, which frames the face, but we don't see too heavy shadows. And what we're not doing is just blowing out the entire face with too much white. Hope that makes sense. So that's pretty much the lighting setup. I've got the blinds in here that I can control daylight or natural light coming in the cabin as well. But hopefully that's given you an idea of how I've set up my cabin. And I will leave a list of the equipment that I've used to record this video, just so if you want to borrow or copy any of that, feel free to go ahead. Hope you enjoyed this video, something a bit different. This, I hope, will help you, even if you just want to improve your Zoom call video quality, or if you're looking to start recording tutorials or your own video content, then give it a go. If you've got any questions, please leave them for me. And don't forget to head over to our school communities, where we'll be going into more detail on this setup and also, of course, providing you loads of content to become a little bit better designer. But otherwise, hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers.